our topic here, PSO2 will not map with this, only PSO1. Fine? Yes. So we have just started about RNN in the last class. So the continuation of that, can anybody tell me the difference between feed forward network and recurrent neural network? Can someone? Yes? What is the difference between feed forward network and recurrent neural network? K7, tell me why it is called recurrent neural network. Get up. Yes? Why it is called recurrent neural network? Huh? Because of the looping. So again and again we repeat the same kind of process. That is the reason it is called as recurrent neural network. Sit down. So it is the advancement of neural network. So whenever we want to process something sequentially, okay, so one after the other you are proceeding something, or the current data is going to be dependent of the previous level of data, something like that. If that is the case, we go with the RNN. Your feed forward neural network will not go back. Suppose you want to do any process again in the previous state or a few states before, it is not possible with the feed forward neural network. Why always we consider feed forward as a model that is the basic model that has all the features. From that we can just enhance or extend any other features. Okay, so we can say that RNN is an extension of our feed forward neural network. Fine. So we have even discussed about the architecture, how it will be, and very important features about RNN will be, there will be a hidden state which will be able to remember the data which is being processed. Okay, so it will be having a hidden unit or hidden state. That is a very important feature of our RNN, right? And another very important property about RNN will be, there will not be any different parameters passed. Whereas in the any other CNN or other feed forward neural networks, the parameters will be shared. Parameters will be shared. Okay, so parameter will be updated on each and every state. Like we do affect the parameters, the weight. Whereas here, all the states weight will be same, but based on the time step, the computation varies. Though the weight is same, you consider, when you consider, there are like, you construct the RNN with 4 levels. Okay, RNN with the 4 levels. Your RNN 3 is going to get the value from RNN 2, and in addition it will be receiving the input from X3 also. X3 it will be receiving a input. You will be using same weight only, but at T3, that is at level 3, the output will be different because it is going to take the input from the previous level also. It is not only dependent on your X3, it even depends on the previous output. That is the reason we say that the computation takes place based on the time step. Based on the time step. So here also there will be a back propagation taken place. Back propagation taken place. So though it is giving an input, how RNN is giving input, the previous state alone is giving an input to the next state. Suppose the next state output needs to be considered for the previous state. For example, so here I am generating some value, the next level it is generating which is more deviated from this. So I want to just reduce, like here I am using x, there I am using x square. So x value, the difference between x and x square is 2y. So I would like to use, instead of x square, I can just use x plus 1 or x plus 2 or x plus 4, something like that I want. So when x is equal to 2, it is going to be a slight difference only. Whereas when x is equal to 100, x square will be 10,000. Correct? 1,000. When x is equal to 100, what is x square? 10,000. So 100 and 10,000, the difference is too high. comparing with 2 and 4. When x is equal to 2, x square will be just 4. The difference between those two will be only 2. Whereas when x is equal to 100, x square becomes 10,000. There the difference is too high. So just by seeing the next level, I see that the difference is too high. So unless and otherwise I get to know what is the output of the next level, here I cannot make any changes for the next iteration. Or this way if I proceed, definitely I will not be able to get the proper accuracy. For that purpose, maybe I require the next state output also. And that is where back propagation is taken place. So back propagation is introduced to share the output of the next level. Okay, so again that also may create a problem. We will see what are all the problems faced by this RNN. Okay, fine. So where we stopped our last class, how does RNN work? I think did I explain this? Hidden state is updated at every time step. Your hidden state will get updated based on the time. At time t1 the hidden state will function one way. At time t2 the hidden state may function in different way depending upon, because the previous input is given and that own input is also given. On that we apply the activation function. Based on that the value will be computed. Okay. Formula for calculating the current state. Have you written this? Current state. Now I think you have an idea. So your RNN is comprised of, normally it will be like that only. So this will be forwarded to the next level and it goes on. Suppose you decide this is going to be the final. So the initial input x1 and here you will be giving some weight. The same weight only will be given. So along with this also you can give W. Here also you can give W because W is same. And this may be producing some output S1 and this will be producing some output S2. So here this S3 is considered as the final output. So this is how your RNN will be. So X1 initially we give some initial value. Normally we give some initial value to our first unit. With that the computation will be taken place. It produces some output. So this is W. This will be given as one of the inputs and this will be given as the second input. By considering both of them with a constant weight, it will process. How it is going to process? Because here the function of the RNN is not only this computation alone. It even has to remember the data. Because it is acting as a long short-term memory. About that also we discuss detailing. Long short-term memory, because it must have a memory only then it can remember the value generated from the previous level. So how the hidden unit is going to compute? What is the formula? Hidden unit uses to calculate the output as well as the memory point. Okay. So formula for calculating current state. Formula for calculating current state. This we are talking about hidden unit. Each and every RNN level will have a hidden unit and that is the primary part of any RNN. Okay. So HT is computed as a function of HT minus 1 comma x1. Very simple, right? Here there is no much explanation. I do some function. What function it is, I am not sure at this point. Okay, I even apply activation function on that. So the process of this and that will be giving me the output as HT, where HT is a current state. HT is a current state, and the other things you can write HT minus 1 will be the previous state. XT will be input at that state. So this is only for the current state calculation. With this it is not getting over. Now how do I apply activation function? Again, activation function can be of four various types. So we are familiar with the two activation functions. One is sigmoid, that is always used for the linear data, linear functions, and ReLU, which will be used for the non-linear functions. But here in RNN we will be using tangent function also. Tangent function will be used as a activation function. So now let us see the activation function on HT. Please remember, in one RNN level we will be doing two things. One, to consider the previous level output. Other one, on that you need to apply activation function. So normally tan H will be used, but where we can use sigmoid, where we can use ReLU, where we can use tangent, I will explain you little later. Okay. So HT is equal to tan H of W H T minus 1 plus W XH into XT. So this is the formula used to apply activation on the input, where WHH is weight at recurrent neuron. Weight at recurrent neuron. Next, WXH is weight at input neuron. Weight at input neuron. Weight at input neuron. So it even carries the weight. Weight is not going to be updated anyway. Suppose it is going to be a loop. A neuron is going to process itself, self loop. If you just go back to the architecture which I had given, one RNN, we would have given a self loop. That is called recurrent neuron. So for recurrent neuron, there will be one weight, and for the input neuron, that is freshly you are processing, there is no recurrence over there. That is the case WXH. So with this we will be applying the activation function. Now comes to, we have not completed, three things will be there. One is the hidden state calculation. Second is applying activation function, and the third part of this is formula for calculating output. Shall I write this? You have all written. So three components will be there when we are performing computation on RNN. Number one will be hidden state, because it is an added feature in RNN. So hidden state computation will take place by applying this formula. And activation function, how do I apply activation function? Sigmoid will be the very simplest function which will be applied only on a linear data. Whereas for any data in common, the familiar function for RNN could be tan H. So this is how activation function is applied. The third component of RNN process could be output computation. Computation of the output. The formula for calculating output could be YT is equal to W HY into HT. WHY into HT. See in the RNN, so here we are passing something. So we will be passing a state matrix. The state matrix will be having the output produced by the previous level along with the weight processed from here. Though weight, we are not going to use a different weight, but it will be carrying the weight from this level 2, and along with the input I will be giving the constant weight. So after the computation, S matrix, the S matrix will be having the output generated by this. That output will be carrying even the weight of this level. That is the reason this W, HH, XH, YHY, like the different name you are saying. Though there is no change in the weight, Okay, but the name will be changed. Input to that, output from that. That is the reason the weight name is changed. So, okay, though it is only W, where it is getting produced, and based on the time step, there may be a change on it. We are not updating the weight, but the calculation, the output may impact on the weight. So that needs to be represented by a different notation. YT will be our output, YT will be our output, and HY will be weight at output layer. Weight at output layer. Again, your neural network RNN structure also, externally if you see, it will be same like how we see any neural networks. Okay, there will be input layer, there will be hidden layer, there will be output layer, but here each neuron itself will be having a hidden unit. That's it. Fine. So one more point I want you to note down. The parameters are updated using back propagation if requires. It is not always mandatory. The parameters are updated using back propagation. Back propagation. Since RNN is used to process sequential data, since RNN is processing or works on sequential data, we can always use updated propagation. We can use always an updated propagation, updated back propagation, which we call it as back propagation through time step. Back propagation through time steps. Everywhere this you can see. Time step. Time is the one which will be deciding. Okay, so this is overall about our RNN. We do even have some problem with the RNN. Okay, RNN is also having some flaws in it. They are mainly inside is a vanish based on the gradient function. So gradient is common over here also. Gradient we have already learned. So with that gradient it faces some problem. So one is vanishing gradient. Vanishing gradient problem. Other one is exploding gradient. Exploding gradient. So these two are the problems with RNN. What is this vanishing gradient problem? Okay, so as we know that RNN processes sequential data. Sequential data. So without knowing the previous data, the final data cannot be given. I will give you a small example. For a sentence, I am giving you a small sentence where the cloud is in the dash. The cloud is in the dash. So only the alone will not determine the result. In alone will not determine the result. I even have to know the previous data, only then I will be able to answer this. Okay, it is not much complicated. I only have to know 3 steps before, so that will be able to give me the answer. The cloud is in the sky. The cloud is in the sky. Your answer may be anything, but I have taken a simple thing like this. The cloud is in the sky. So what is happening here? So this is passing the output to the next level. That is passing the output to the next level. That is passing the output to the next level. Suppose if the sentence is 2 by 2 lengthy, where some paragraphs before I have a hint to answer this particular thing, and it is having a very small memory only. It is having a very small memory only, which will not be able to remember too much of data in it. Correct? It will not be able to remember too much of data, but my gradient only carries the information about the previous level of RNN. There I face a problem to train my model. Training model will be very difficult to make my model to remember the data so many steps before. That's a problem. That is called vanishing gradient problem. Okay, so if it is set like only 3-4 words only it can remember, or 3 steps or 10 steps till 10 steps before only it can remember. If that is the case, the 11th step only will give me the answer for this particular thing. That will be very difficult. So how do I set it? It has to remember this many levels. It has to remember 100 levels. It has to remember 10,000 levels. How can I train my model? That will be the difficult task with the RNN. That's the problem. Okay. So second thing is exploding gradient. Exploding gradient. Again, one more example I will give you. This is the simplest thing. It is okay. We can solve it easily. Okay, because only 3 words before only. I am giving a sentence like I've been living in Bangalore for the past 10 years. So I am very fluent dash. Okay, I've been living in Bangalore for the past 10 years. So I am very fluent in dash. So many words back it has to come. Only then the answer could be Kannada. Answer could be Kannada. Since so that may or may not be also, but to determine that answer, so many steps before I have to remember. So the training the model will be very difficult. But for this may be easy when the thing is very lengthy statement which will determine my last word. The prediction of this word has too much of dependency. Training will also be very difficult. And suppose any loss occurs at any state. Loss also will be there, like your CNN or all other neural networks model. Your thing will be producing even the loss. You expect something from your mouth base. Whenever we train, you are assuming 100 sets you are going to consider for your training model. 80 sets will be used for training, 20 sets will be used for testing. That is the default ratio. 80:20 only we will be doing. But how much training I can give to my model? Again, I have to consider about this overfitting, underfitting, because I am much familiar with all these things. To normalize that, again I have to approach. So how do I train this? Whenever it is a sequential data, whenever it is a natural language processing, like sometimes it's a natural language processing, you consider it as application. You want to translate a document from Tamil to English. Sometimes you see 3 words when you consider in English, which will generate a single word in Tamil. Sometimes 3 words of Tamil may be converted as a single word of English. That's a unique nature of the languages. Again, how do I train that also in my model? Those things will be the difficult part of the RNN, which we call it as exploding gradient. You get my point? When you are doing translation, machine translation or language translation or natural language processing, where you are converting something from one language to another language, this language nature will be different and that language nature will be different. And here when I take complete sentence, for the entire sentence there will be a single word over here. Okay, I don't have to write that much and all. But in other language may be very lengthy, for which single word has to translate. Whether the translation will taken place properly. So you have written some programming in one programming language which needs to be converted to other programming languages. Okay. So if both are compatible enough, it is easy to to convert it, but consider the very old languages like our COBOL, Fortran. You know, even now the research is going on to translate, because earlier scientists and all had written programming in those languages, which needs to be, which cannot be completely destroyed also. You cannot just ignore that. That data also I require. So there they are finding too much of difficulty. Those flaws only are getting rectified by these days of researchers. Okay, fine. That's about your exploding gradients. What is the solution? Whenever it is a problem, there must be a solution also. So on as a summary, if I want to say both the problems here, vanishing gradient as well as exploding gradient leads to too much of loss, poor accuracy, poor performance, which we don't expect from our model, correct? So our model should be easier, you have to train. அது வந்து சூப்பரா பெர்ஃபார்ம் பண்ணனும். லாஸ் வந்து ரொம்ப கம்மியா இருக்கும். Again and again I don't want to train. I give this much of training. திரும்ப திரும்ப நான் அது பண்ண ஒரு ப்ரோக்ராமை நீங்க பண்றீங்கன்னு வெச்சுக்கோங்க. So you are debugging your program, you are able to get the output immediately, or twice or thrice you are debugging, you are getting the output. But days together it is going on. But you will lose interest to do that. You will just throw away and come out. You will start thinking in different way. You get my point? So if my system is not giving me better performance, I go with the second time of training, third time of training. Even then I am not able to get, I will be frustrated of that particular concept itself, model itself. Okay? So those things are the consequences of these two gradient problems. Now coming to the gradient problem solutions. There are even some solutions for the gradient problems. Okay, so to resolve exploding gradient, what are all the things we get? It is all dependent thing. Okay, so it is like I can just consider this as a kind of curve. I divide this into 3 because I am going to take 3 steps action to resolve or to fix the problem of exploding gradient. Number 1, that is this portion could be of identify the initialization properly. Initialization must be done properly. Okay, so that is the step we need to follow. Identify the initialization. Number 2 could be second step could be truncated propagation. So I don't have to do the back propagation always or forward propagation always. Wherever it is required, straight away. Like when Bangalore will determine Canada. In between so many things are there. Okay, but still Bangalore must propagate the data to the final stage so that easily I will be able to answer. The truncation on the propagation has to be introduced. That is the idea proposed for this. Number 3, gradient clipping. Gradient clipping. Again, the gradient where it is required. Out of so many words, out of so many levels of RNN, which needs to be get connected, which things needs to be considered. That alone has to be taken for the final prediction. It is a little difficult concept only, but you must know these are all the things available to resolve the problem. Next, solution for vanishing gradient problem. I am going to update this itself because I am going to use the same kind of art. First step, what I need to follow, weight initialization. So I have to take care of the initial weight, that is for the first level I give some weight, right? So that weight initialization has to be taken care. Second thing is choosing that is very important for the vanishing gradient problem. Choose right activation function. Choose right activation function. You are given with a lot of activation functions in which each one will be suitable for your model. Has to be properly identified and selected. And the third step could long short-term memory. Long short-term memory introduction. Long short-term memory. In short, it is written as LSTM. Long short-term memory networks. So these are the proposed thing. So normally this LSTM is the efficient way to resolve totally the gradient problem, vanishing or exploding. To avoid those two cases, LSTM will be more effective solution. Okay, fine. So as I mentioned, there are so many activation functions. I just list out all the functions and the corresponding formula. So suppose in your examination you are asked to apply so and so activation function, you must know. Okay. So activation functions. These are the common activation functions for any deep learning networks. Okay. And depending upon the requirement, if it is CNN, we choose a particular activation function. If it is feed forward, we choose a particular activation function. RNN, for that we will be choosing some particular activation function. But the available, but it doesn't, there is no mandatory that this only has to be chosen. Based upon your performance, what performance you require and for what you are applying, based on that you will be choosing. So first one is sigmoid function. It is only a repetition. Sigmoid function. So sigmoid function normally provides you the values ranging from 0 to 1. So value you can take only from 0 to 1. It is normally useful for the binary classification of anything. It may be a word or it may be of anything. Okay. So sigmoid function is normally used. Adanalada sigmoid we were using for even CNN. Classification based thing we go with the sigmoid function. Sigmoid function ranges from 0 to 1. It is normally used for the binary classification task. Okay, just maybe even on the image. So the formula for that would be sigma of x is equal to 1 by 1 plus e to the power minus x. This is your sigmoid function. Whatever the x you take, on that you will be applied to enhance activation function. Number 2, this is normally is not in use. We don't use this activation function, but you must know. Okay, that I will just leave why to confuse you. So tangent, not the function which I said it is not of use. I am not going to give you. So this is tangent. In other words, it is called as hyperbolic tangent too. Hyperbolic tangent or just tangent function. So it ranges from -1 to 1. The values which could be taken between -1 and +1. So normally it is used for the non-linear classification. Non-linear classification. This is for binary classification and this is for non-linear classification. Non-linear classification, and the formula would be tan h of x is equal to e to the power x minus e to the power minus x. No. Yeah, minus x. Divided by e to the power x plus e to the power minus x. See the difference properly. E power x minus e power minus x divided by e power x plus e power minus x. That is about your tan activation function, tan h. Next comes to ReLU, which we are very familiar with. ReLU, third activation function, rectified linear unit. Rectified linear unit. It is a non-linear activation activation function. So this takes the values ranging from 0 to infinity. It takes any value from 0. So normally whichever mode, like you want a positive output on anything, whatever it may be the module, your module requires a positive output. Now you go with the ReLU activation function. The formula could be ReLU of x is equal to max of 0 comma x. Max of 0 comma x. This is the function for ReLU, and you even have an extension of this ReLU, okay, which we call as leaky ReLU function. Leaky ReLU function, okay. So ReLU is the one which we will be using. Somewhere in some special cases we can use leaky ReLU function, like there is a negative slope in the graph, even that needs to be considered. Negative values as it is needs to be taken and computed. There I go with the leaky ReLU, okay, just to know I'm giving that. Finally, softmax function. Softmax function. So though activation functions we are using, if it is on the input layer it will be different, that is at the first level. On other levels it will be different, and finally on the output layer a different activation function could be used. So normally the softmax function is used on the output layer. Make a note of it. Softmax function is the activation function which is applied normally on the output layer. So whenever it is a multi-class classification, like you are classifying the people. It is a party where you are classifying the people, grouping the people, or classifying the people, children, adult and aged people. That is one classification. Again, in adult or children or elder people, you are classifying veg, non-veg. Again, in veg, diet food or any food they can take. Like something they eat only the dietary food, they will not eat oily food and other things. Like you are doing multi-class, where I can apply softmax function. Whenever you require the output where it undergoes multi-class classification, I can use softmax function. So normally it will be distributed according to the probability. Okay. So formula for that would be softmax of x is equal to e power x divided by summation of e power x.